in. Allow yourself to unhook your attention, to disconnect that attention from all of the sights and the sounds and the smells and sensations in the world around you. There's always so much to be hooked into. But for just a moment, let yourself unhook from all of that. And allow yourself to drop deeply inside the self. Allow that awareness, that attention and focus to merge with your breath. Don't try to change your breath, but just allow the awareness to merge with it as it flows gently in and out. If the mind wanders, don't worry. Just bring it back. The moment you notice that the mind has wandered, just gently and lovingly bring it back to the breath. You can add a very simple mantra to this practice as well. And the mantra is so hum. So hum. It means I am that. I am that. I am the universe. Aham Brahmasmi. It's the same meaning. I am the divine. I am the supreme reality. I am the creator and the creation. So on the in-breath, as you inhale, just allow yourself very gently to chant gently on the inhalation, silently to yourself. So just gently on the inhalation. And on the exhalation, as you let go and drop deeper and deeper, just allow yourself to gently, silently chant to yourself. Hum. Take the breaths at your own slow pace, but just allow that awareness and attention to continually unhook itself from all of the stimuli in the world around you, and to just keep bringing it back to the breath and back to the mantra. Slowly and gently, bring the palms together at chest level and rub the palms of your hands against each other. Press the palms of your hands gently into your closed eyes. Slowly and gently, lower your hands and open your eyes. Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with you all. Starting as always with one of our questions that comes in advance from the online internet-based audience. And then we'll open it up to any questions that any of you might have. How practically to stay in the present moment. In every action, how to not sway with the thoughts. I want to know experientially, not theoretically. This is from Samir. Everything is only beneficial if it's actual, not theoretical. Theories are great, philosophy's great, but only to the extent to which we can actually implement it in our lives. Otherwise, you become very, very good at expounding lots of theories and philosophies, and you might impress people with how much you can quote or what you know or what you learned. But it doesn't actually benefit you. It doesn't actually benefit you. It only benefits you if it goes from being theoretical to being practical. So, practically, how do we stay in the present moment? Intention and attention. It's actually very simple. Here we are, the body's here. The brain, in fact, is actually here. Most of it's here. It may seem like our mind is all over the place, but actually most of the brain is right here. Because most of what the brain is doing is breathing me, digesting my food, making my blood flow, keeping my blood pressure normal, keeping my body erect, allowing all of the muscles to hold themselves in place so that I don't fall over, Keeping my eyes able to see, my ears able to hear, my fingers able to touch, my legs able to sense the ground beneath them or the pillow beneath them. So actually the vast majority of my brain is here. So the body is here, the brain is here, the breath is here. Everything's happening right here. So staying here is I am here. The only part of me that isn't here is the thoughts. And the thoughts are actually something that we have the ability to control. We're just not used to it. One of my favorite ways of thinking about this is if, as I sat here, suddenly as I'm talking to you, just imagine that my arms start flailing like this, okay? And I'm giving satsang, but my arms are doing this. And I say, oh yeah, don't worry about that. Those are just my silly arms. They kind of do that sometimes. You'd think, there's something wrong with her. Right? I mean, arms don't just do that. Or if suddenly I stood up and I started like bouncing up and down and my arms are flailing and my legs are moving. And I say, oh yeah, don't worry about that. My arms and my legs, they just do their own thing. You'd think she needs a doctor. Because we all understand that our arms and our legs should be under our control. And if they're not, it means there is actually something wrong with me. But our minds, literally the steering wheel of our lives, that which determines every decision we make, every choice, every step, every path, every single thing we do that is not automatic like breathing and digesting. Everything. We do it because of the mind. When do we sleep? When do we get up? Where do we go? What do we do from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep? It's all based on the mind. So the mind is literally the steering wheel of our lives. But how many of us just really casually say, oh yeah, my mind, what do I do about it? As though somehow that were just sort of an okay thing to let roam wherever it wanted. And the guy or the gal at the car dealership said, got this great car. It's beautiful. Everything is perfect about it. Only hitch is, there's no steering wheel. Would you buy the car? Would anybody buy the car? I mean, could you even imagine buying a car that didn't have a steering wheel? But our minds essentially might as well not exist for all of the time and attention and care that we give to them. We just let them roam wherever they want, like a car with no steering wheel. So to stay in the present literally is just to become aware that, hey, I have this thing called a mind. It only does its own thing when I'm not paying attention. The moment I start paying attention, I can make it do whatever I want. And like right now, just close your eyes for a moment. And now in your mind, I want you to yell silently, just in your mind, as loudly as you can, love. Just yell love in your mind as loudly as you can. Now keep yelling it. Not loudly like angry loud, but just loud so that you hear it in your mind. Just keep yelling love as loudly as you can in your mind. Okay, now stop and now yell hate in your mind as loudly as you can. Just keep yelling it. Okay, now come back and yell love again. Just yell it in your mind. Okay, open your eyes. Was anyone not able to do that? Great. So, I've just shown you, we actually can control our minds. Right? I mean, you yell love, you're yelling love. You yell hate, you yell hate. You come back to love. There you go. Mind control. By yourself. Of your own mind. Now, normally when we're talking about being aware, it isn't so much dictating to the mind. That was just an experiment to prove to you in 30 seconds that your mind can't actually run on its own when you are paying attention. It only runs away when you are not present with it. So to be present in the moment simply means I bring my awareness and my attention and my focus to right here, right now. That's all it is. Now it takes practice because most of us are not used to being here. And that's where there's some tools and tips and techniques, and the breath is a really powerful one. If you can stay aware of the breath and anchored in the breath, it'll automatically bring you to the present moment. So just start practicing that in your life as you're walking, as you're moving, as you're driving your car, doing your errands, at work. Whatever you're doing, you're always breathing. So just see whether you can bring your awareness to the breath. Can you be aware of it? Can you bring your awareness to whatever you're doing? Now, some tasks actually require our brain to be focused on the task at hand. So if I'm typing an email, let's say, I actually need my mind to be focused on what I'm saying in the email rather than focused on what the keyboards feel like on my fingers. Because otherwise I'm going to forget what I need to say in the email. So there are moments in which we put our attention on a task at hand. You're doing accounting, you're writing something, you're figuring something out. But most of what we do, if we're really honest, doesn't actually require that much of our brains. Most of what we're doing, we're walking, we're chatting, we're driving, we're shopping, we're cooking, we're doing dishes. Not that big of a percentage of our hours is on mind-intensive work. And when it is, then that's actually great because then your mind is also not wandering anyway. Then it's exactly where you've put it. Even if what it's doing is tallying up numbers, it's exactly there in the moment where you've put it. Which actually is where you start to hear people talk about being in flow. You hear athletes talk about it, you hear artists talk about it, you hear even scientists talk about it. Mathematicians talk about it, writers talk about it. What does in flow mean? It means my mind is so engaged in what I'm doing. Surgeons talk about it. So it's not that to be in the moment you have to be just like this. But the mind has to be present in the moment. So whether it's actually doing surgery, doing a task, or if the task doesn't require your mind, and that's why your mind is wandering into the past and the future, bring it to the breath. Every moment you realize that your mind is somewhere other than here, just bring it back to the breath. It means, oh, the present moment doesn't require your brain quite so much. It's like that great story of the novice, the meditation student at a meditation retreat at a monastery. And he says one day to the head monk, I can't meditate, my mind wanders. My mind wanders so much. I want to be able to focus on God, but my mind just keeps wandering. And so the monk takes him out to the river, and he holds his head under the water. And first the novice, the student thinks, oh, I'm being, sort of baptized in this tradition. But then the monk keeps his head under the water and keeps holding him, and finally the guy thinks, oh my God, he's drowning me. He panics, tries to get up. Finally, just before he passes out, the monk pulls his head out of the river. And the guy's coughing and spewing, and the monk says, what were you thinking about down there? And the guy's like, thinking about? What do you mean, what was I thinking about? I was thinking about a breath. I was thinking about staying alive. And the monk says, did your mind wander? The guy was like, of course it didn't wander. I was dying. And the monk says, when you want God, like you wanted a breath, your mind will stop wandering. The mind only wanders when we don't really want that divine experience, that divine connection, that presence. So just keep practically, Samir, the gentleman who asked the question, just keep bringing your awareness back to the breath, back to the moment. Practice it while you walk. Practice it while you eat. Practice it while you do things that don't require your brain. And then slowly, you'll find that you're able to be present more and more and more of the time. Set alarms on your phone that just go off every 15 minutes. So that for just a moment, you just stop. Whatever you're doing, you just stop and you come back. Just for a moment. Not talking that you need to do another half an hour meditation. Just a moment. Come back to the moment. Just keep coming back, keep coming back. And then you'll find it becomes second nature. Great question. Other questions? Any questions that anyone here has? You've given it here. नहीं, आप इसको हम माइक से आप बोल दीजिएगा, ठीक रहेगा. फिर सभी लोग सुन लेंगे. अच्छा चाहिए इसको, ये वाला. If you have a question when he's done, we've got these 2 microphones, so feel free to just come up to one of the mics and we'll take your question after.
नमस्कार. आज मंगलवार तारीख 21/11/2023 साध्वी जी का सत्संग. माननीय रिस्पेक्टेड साध्वी जी, गंगा मैया की जय. ओम नमः शिवाय. प्रश्न: जब हम किसी विषय पर ध्यान करते हैं,
अब थोड़ा सा जोर से बोलिएगा.
जब हम किसी विषय पर ध्यान करते हैं या करना चाहते हैं, उस समय मेरा दिमाग, माइंड अलग अलग विचारों से घिर जाता है, कवर हो जाता है माइंड. वो सभी विचार अच्छे और बुरे, खराब भी होते हैं. पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव थॉट्स आते जाते हैं. इस वजह से पूरा ध्यान किसी विषय पर केंद्रित करना मुश्किल होता है. किस प्रकार से खराब विचारों, नेगेटिव थॉट्स को नियंत्रण, कंट्रोल में रखें और सिर्फ ओनली सकारात्मक विचारों, पॉजिटिव थॉट्स को ही दिमाग, माइंड में आने दें. इस विषय पर ऊपर के प्रश्न पर जवाब कृपया हिंदी में देने की कृपा करें. आभारी, आपका शिष्य.
बात यही, इतने लोग यहाँ पे हिंदी नहीं समझ पाते हैं, तो इसलिए उनकी वजह से अंग्रेजी में कहना है. लेकिन कोई बात नहीं, आप हिंदी में पूछिएगा, लेकिन आंसर तो इंग्लिश में देना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो उनको लगेगा कि उनको निमंत्रण तो दे दिया आने के लिए, लेकिन इसी तरह से बात कर रहे कि समझ नहीं पा रहे, तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. But he asked a beautiful question of how do we remove negative thoughts from our mind so that we only have positive thoughts. Interestingly, there's a tendency of the mind itself to go in a negative direction. Now, it's important to know that that is a tendency of the mind by nature, so that you don't feel badly about yourself. It's actually evolutionarily advantageous. Physically, we are genetically evolved to be anxious, worried, afraid, negative. As I always say, we are the descendants of the ones who worried. Because those who didn't worry, in the days where people were living with, wild lions and tigers and warring tribes with spears and bows and arrows who were coming in to take over your village or whatever it was, those who didn't worry didn't necessarily live very long. Those who worried about what's going to happen to the house if there's a storm. Oh my God, that sounds like the roar of a lion. Or, oh, winter is coming. Let us make sure we have enough food to last us through the winter. They're actually the ones who survived long enough to make babies and passed on their genes. Those who were of the more kind of eat, drink, be merry, don't worry about it philosophy of life didn't necessarily store food for the winter, didn't necessarily take care of their home in advance of the storm, didn't necessarily get out of the way when the lion was roaring, and so presumably didn't last very long to pass on those very casual genes. So the fact that we have a tendency to negativity, a tendency toward suspicion, a tendency toward thinking, that's actually something that has kept us alive for tens of millions of years. So whenever that arises, just bow to it. Thank you. Thank you to this gene, this tendency in my ancestors. I'm so glad that they were worried and a little bit negative, because it means that they lasted long enough to give birth to all of my ancestors. But recognize that 99% of the time, at least, it doesn't serve you anymore. The things that are actually threatening to us on a physical level, interestingly, tend not to be the things that we are negative about. Most of us tend to be negative in general. Just judgment about other people. Oh my God, that person is, rude or obnoxious or selfish or mean or ugly or this or that. Whatever way we are passing judgment. Their food is bad, their house is ugly, they don't know how to decorate, they didn't receive me properly, whatever it may be. But we're just constantly negatively judging others, negatively judging situations. We negatively judge ourselves. You're stupid, you're worthless, you're lazy, you're not smart enough, you're not attractive enough, you're not funny enough, you're not smart enough, you're not worthy enough. So we're constantly negative in those ways, which actually are really detrimental on an emotional level, a mental level, a spiritual level. And so the way to deal with them is the way to deal with all of our thoughts, like we were talking before. Bring awareness and consciousness to it. And the moment one of those thoughts arises, just bring the awareness back to the breath. Don't try to fight it off with more negativity, because otherwise that's what a lot of us do. See, look, you're so negative. Look at you, God, you'll never get this spiritual thing down. You're so negative. then we become negative about our negativity. Look at you, you're so judgmental, you're such a bad person. All you do, just notice it. And bring the awareness right back to the breath. Just come back to the breath. Just take yourself out of the thought entirely. Or, so that's option one. Option two, if you find that it's really a tendency in your life, if it's just sometimes, bring the awareness back to the breath. If it's really a tendency in your life and you're really negative all the time, make yourself be positive instead. And whenever you meet someone, just immediately start thinking of all the positive things. You don't like how they look? Okay, maybe they have a nice smile. Maybe all they have are nice shoes or nice hair, whatever it may be. But just make yourself, long before any negative thought comes, make yourself think something positive about them. Just move through your world, lay new sanskaras, new patterns, and move through your world consciously, positively thinking. And this is not a sort of Pollyanna spiritual bypass repression situation. Remember, I'm not talking about doing this with things that actually matter, like world hunger or climate change. Tragically, those tend not to be the thoughts that fill most of our minds. It would actually be really useful for ourselves and our planet if they were, but they're not. When we speak about negativity in our mind, most of the time it's not, oh my God, children are dying, what can I do about it? Or, oh my God, the earth is warming, what can I do about it? Most of the time it really is just that person's rude, I'm like this, the situation is like that. So just literally make yourself consciously, intentionally be positive. But be real with regard to actual situations in our life and with things that actually are negative. Hunger, climate change, war, oppression, repression. Actually work to fix them. That's not a negative thought. That's an awareness of a reality that itself is negative. Those are two completely different things. Having open eyes about a situation that is unequivocally negative is living in truth. And that's when we look at it and we say, what can I do to help this situation? And then that becomes a beautiful positive thought about a true situation that's negative. Beautiful. Thank you for the question. Other questions? Yes. Just, he needs to turn that mic on for you. Oh, just 1 second, actually. Hold on just 1 second. Did he have a question? She have a question? Oh, would it be okay if we just, yeah. Kids first. Thanks. Okay.
Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, Mom can ask for you.
Yeah, my daughter here asked me to help her to ask the question. So,
Wonderful.
what?
Can you tell us all her name?
Her name is Maya
Maya.
Moonstar.
Beautiful. Maya Moonstar. So Maya Moonstar, tell us your question. Okay,
So
Mom will
what
tell
to
us.
What can I do when I get really angry?
Oh. Maya Moonstar, would you come here? What a great question. Come here. First of all, can we give her a very big round of applause for it? Come. Come. tell us what makes you angry?
When Mama doesn't agree me sweets when I want.
When mommy does what?
When she doesn't agree me sweets when I want, or when I want a movie and she doesn't want.
Oh, when mommy doesn't do what she wants. So we want to watch a movie, but mommy doesn't let us watch the movie. Okay. So, first of all, I'm so glad that you don't like being angry. It doesn't feel good, does it? Where do you feel it when you get angry? Where do you feel it in your body?
In the hand.
In the hand? You feel that in your hands? Gets tight
Yeah.
and sweaty? Yeah. Do you feel it in your tummy also? Yeah. When I get angry, I feel it in my tummy too. So it doesn't feel good in our hands. It doesn't feel good in our tummies. It doesn't feel good in your heart. So, now that we know that anger doesn't feel good, here's the question. Is a movie that you want to see that important that it's worth having a pain in your tummy and a pain in your hands? It's not worth it, right? Because even if it's a good movie, it's still not worth it. So every time that you feel like you're getting angry, what you can say to yourself is, I have a choice. Did you know that? You have a choice. You don't have to get angry. Just because mom doesn't let you watch the movie doesn't mean that you have to get angry. You actually have a choice. You know what you could do? You could say, thank you, Mom, instead. I know you might not feel like it, but you have that choice. Or you know what you could do instead? When your hands have that angry feeling in them, you know what you could do?
What?
You could draw a picture. You could dance. You could put your hands in the dirt. You could hug a tree. You could do so many beautiful things with your hands when they have that angry feeling, to get that angry feeling out of them. But mostly, I think what's most important is to realize it doesn't feel good to be angry. And it doesn't feel good to any of us, right? I mean, even if we're angry about things other than movies, it feels awful. They say that being angry is like drinking poison but expecting the other person to die. So, regardless of what it is that makes us angry, and regardless of how old we are, the answer is the same, is to say to yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Yes, I'm angry at this person for this. Mom doesn't let me watch the movie I want, or play with the toys I want, or get me the things I want, or do the things I want. Or later it becomes my husband or my wife, or my kids, or my boss, or my employees, or my neighbor. But in all of those cases, being angry feels awful, doesn't it?
Yes.
It does. Now, I want you to do something with me, okay? Do you feel my hand right here on your tummy? Okay. So when you breathe, can you breathe and feel like you are pushing out my hand like you're blowing up a balloon with your tummy? Yeah, that's great. Good, 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 good. Feel like you're blowing up a balloon in my hand. Okay, but not so fast. Blow it slow. Blow it slow. Yeah. Now let go. Slowly, 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 gentle. Blow it up really slow. Now let it go really gentle. Now blow it up. Now let it go. Yeah, I can feel it. You're doing great. Really slow. Do you feel how that makes you really calm? So when you get angry, I want you to do this blowing up a balloon with your tummy exercise. You can put your own hands here. And all you do is you breathe really deeply right here, right where my hand is, low in the abdomen. A very deep breath. Fill up my hand, blow up my balloon. Not so fast, slow, 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 slow. If you blow up a balloon too fast, it pops. Right? You got to blow it slowly.
But I blew balloons fast.
So blow it, blow it, blow it slow, blow it slow. Blow up the balloon really slow. Yeah, there you go. Good. Now let it go. Now blow it up again. Good. So whenever you feel angry, I want you to sit down and close your eyes and do the balloon blowing breathing exercise. Can you do that for me? Okay? And if you feel that in your hands a lot, I want you to put your hands wherever there's like dirt. If you've got trees, put your hands in the dirt, put your hands on the trees. Because you know what? It takes the anger out of them. It's a great magical thing. Dirt does it, trees do it, rivers do it. Don't go to the river without mommy or daddy.
But I already know to swim.
Oh, still, not in the river. You can swim other places. Put your hands in it gently. In the river, in the dirt, on the trees, in the water. And what you'll find is it takes your anger away if you let it go. Because if you hold on to something really, really, really tight like a fist, then nobody can take it, right? But what happens when you open your hands? Well, then you can you can let it go, right? So you let it go into the dirt, into a tree, into the river. And you do your breathing exercise, okay? And you remember, I am Maya Moonstar. I have a choice. Can you say that with me? I am Maya Moonstar. I mean, you are Maya Moonstar, right?
I am Maya Moonstar.
And I have a choice.
And I have a choice.
You want to say it again? Here, you can say it into my microphone.
I am Maya Moonstar and I have a choice.
Right. So whenever you get angry, that's what you are going to say, okay? And if Maya Moonstar has a choice, it means we all have a choice. Well, thank you so much for teaching everybody about anger tonight. That was a great question. Do you have any other questions? Okay. Beautiful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. I look so forward to being together with you all again tomorrow. And so much love to you all.